my son is here with me, and he says, I only come because of the party popper so people can pop a party. So say that fast. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I hate to break it to you, but the law of attraction does not exist. You have been lied to. Or have you? Over the next 10 minutes, I would like to invite you to imagine watching a documentary with me as your narrator, of course, about a young girl and her prophetic dream. And to set the scene, I want you to envision this beautiful, warm spring day in the year of 1995-ish in East Germany. Only a few playful clouds are covering the otherwise beautiful, perfectly blue sky. And you can smell the flowers, the spring flowers, the scent is in your nose. And there you see her, a merely 12-year-old girl who is enjoying her kayak flow down the river, also known as the River of Life. Her life perfectly worked out as it was supposed to, or maybe as it was expected of her. And while she was kayaking around, she eventually dozed off in the land of dreams. And after about an hour or so, she woke up slightly irritated and disoriented, not quite knowing where she was at, because this dream that she just had was so vivid that she knew it was not just a random dream. It felt more like a prophetic dream. And in this dream, she saw herself speaking on stage as an adult in front of thousands of people in English, which is not her native language. And so you would think that this girl would feel really nervous and uncomfortable and just toss this dream aside. But she felt this really deep sense of peace and freedom and fulfillment and bliss. And so she knew that this is exactly where her life is going to go. This is the direction her life is going to take. And so her journey of manifesting that dream began. Of course, she had to prepare herself, so she started frantically studying everything that she could find about the law of attraction, affirmations, how to envision your dream, goal setting, how to achieve your dreams, everything she could find. And once she felt prepared, she was ready. She knew exactly how, when, what. She had everything planned out. And so she started paddling in her little kayak. Her journey started out pretty smooth and quiet. And a few years went by and she totally enjoyed her adventure. It was so much fun. Until suddenly, in the middle of her path, this huge rock shows up. This big rock that was in her way that said, "You are not good enough." And for the first time, she was wondering if she made the right choice. That rock came closer and closer and closer. She no longer focused on her dream, but she focused on this rock because she was so close to collide with it. She pedaled harder and harder and faster. She knew she can do it, and she did pass it with just an inch to spare. Once she passed it, she looked back. And she thought to herself that she had to make sure that the river of life itself knew exactly how this is going to go down, because it's her dream and nobody else's. So she gets to decide. And so she continued her journey, paddling and paddling. She realized the water was flowing faster, but she just adapted. She was great. When suddenly she found herself right in the middle of those crazy currents. The currents, a maze of opinions and outside circumstances and expectations. Now she really started to doubt everything she had done so far. Did she really have the skill to continue that journey? Was she capable? Everything was just going through her mind. Her kayak was twirling and spinning until she felt really sick to her stomach. Who knew that manifesting your dream can be that hard? She had one or two advantages. She was stubborn and persistent. And so she continued to paddle and paddle and paddle and harder until she finally broke free from those crazy currents. And now she was even more determined. She continued her journey down the river of life. And suddenly, the river split in half. Now she had to make a decision quick, real quick, but her indecisiveness did not quite help. Was she supposed to go left, right, back and forth? Her mind was going crazy. The right side said, "Follow me, let me guide you into the unknown." And the left side said, "Hustle, make it work, you can do it, manifest your dreams fast." And she had something to prove to herself and to everyone else. So of course, she chose to go left when her intuition told her to go right. And so she went down a little further into her journey after she chose to go left. Now the water just turned into a raging sea. Ice-cold water was splashing left and right of her, trying to take her breath away. The waves, also known as fear, took over her kayak. She no longer had control. All she could do was hope and pray that nothing worse is going to happen. And so she continued hoping. Because at this point in her life, she questioned everything she had ever learned. There was no law of attraction. They lied to her. None of this exists because none of this was ever mentioned. And so she continued. She continued without knowing what was ahead of her. But she heard the rushing of the water, and she was afraid. And almost immediately, the kayak with her in it went down this really steep waterfall. It may have looked beautiful, but it certainly did not feel like it. And she kept falling, and anxiety made its way into her consciousness. When suddenly she hit the water, the surface of the water, and it was painful. She was trying to hold on to whatever she could find. But there was nothing left. She was about to drown. Darkness closed in on her. Her body was filled with panic, terror, shame, guilt. But she could not free herself from any of it. And so darkness closed in on her. There was nothing to control anymore. There was no dream left. And so she gave up. She gave up. And maybe someone would have said she surrendered to the river of life. Because while she was there, trapped, trying to figure out what is happening to her, something or someone pulled her back to the surface, put her back into her kayak and gave her this gentle push moving forward. She took a deep breath. She was glad that she was still alive. But now, she found herself in the sea of sadness and grief. She didn't want to be there. No. She wanted to get out. She wanted to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it was not there. And while she was struggling to see which way she was supposed to go, the water gently reminded her that now was the time for her to really take a look inside and let go of some of those stories and beliefs that she had carried along with her for so long. The stories that got her to where she was at. And now was the time for her to heal all those wounds that she had inflicted on herself, but also all those wounds that had been passed down generation to generation. Who wants to do that? She didn't. She resisted. No, she was done. But if she wanted to even move an inch, she had to do the work. Eventually, she did, because there was nothing else for her to do. And so a few more years went by when finally, the path of the river that she was on merged back into the main path of the river that she was supposed to be on in the first place. That path that was in alignment with her soul. Now let me tell you, the river of life knows exactly how to navigate your kayak around the huge rocks, the little rocks, and through the crazy currents. But it does require listening to the whisper of the water. Because that's all it is, a whisper. Jay Shetty once said, "You can't be anything that you want, but you can be everything that you are." And the same goes for manifesting your dream. You can't manifest anything that you want, especially being attached to the how, when, and what. But you can manifest everything that is meant for you, that is in alignment with your soul's journey, with your life's purpose. But it does require quite a dose of trust and faith, and a whole lot of listening to your heart and soul. Thank you.